be the official, unchanged, pure word of God, revealed over 1400 years ago. Claiming to be the word of God is a heavy statement, and without proof, or if a single contradiction is found within the book, the apparent word of God will be proven false. So without further ado, let's put the book to the test. In the 23rd chapter, titled The Believers, from the 12th to the 14th verses, God is said to give a detailed description of how the human being is formed. It begins by saying, "We then placed him as a sperm drop in a place of settlement, firmly fixed. Then we made the drop into a alaqa." We will translate this word very soon. "And then we changed the alaqa into a lump. Then we made out of that lump into bones. And then we clothed the bones with flesh. Then we caused him to grow and come into being and attain the definitive human form." In the 21st century, we can now safely say that this verse is clearly describing the process of human development in correct chronological order. However, what we should be paying attention to in particular is the second stage, referring to the development of the embryo.
We knew nothing about science. It was so primitive that, for instance, they used to believe mountains to keep the sky out would come to such conclusions.
I've read those sections of the Quran. I've read those sections of the Quran. I've read those sections of the Quran.
Do you disagree with the stages of embryology? The Quran, the
yes,
seventh?
Yes,
so
yes, the Quran
right.
is babbling. It's throwing out these very vague, fuzzy descriptions of the embryo looking like chewed flesh or whatever. When you look at what the Quran says about it, it is vague, it is ambiguous.
Sure.
It's the kind of stuff that a desert nomad might guess. The Quran is basically stealing from Greek embryology.
Galen, yeah?
Well, I'm talking specifically about Aristotle. My point is that there's very little about embryology in the Quran. What there is...
Details are not there, you're right. Details are not there, you're right. Details are not there, you're right.
The Quran describes the various embryological stages in great detail.
Details are not there, you're right. Yes,
That's
the
right.
details are not
and
there.
And what details are there are obviously cribbed from Aristotle. Like I say, when we look at the descriptions of embryology in the Quran, and we look at the descriptions of embryology in Aristotle,
Sure.
they're the same.
Well, in what way, sir? Would you like to give us...
I don't think they're the same.
The discussion of the development of bones, etc., all these things, the fairly crude stages that are described in Aristotle, it's obvious.
You may have a point there. I'm willing to accept that. What I'm saying is, I'm willing to accept that there may be similarities, not that Quran borrowed from Aristotle. My contention is that the specific stages described in the Quran, how does that match with what Aristotle said? I mean, those stages are quite peculiar to the Quran. Quran is quite unique in describing those stages because the bones are formed first and then the muscles, and this is how would a desert nomad know that?
Right now, I'm laughing at this idea that this is a specific description of embryology. Yes, bones develop first, then muscles.
I agree it's general. No, I agree with you, it's general.
The Quran describes the various embryological stages in great detail.
I agree it's general.
Yes.
No, I agree with you, it's
do.
general.
This is something that you can infer just by, rational thought about embryology. You can also just determine this by looking at fetuses from different animals. You can look
By
at
desecration.
Once again,
Astronomy,
you've
universe is
equated these really crude, primitive guesses that you find in the Quran with the specific details of science.
Mm-hmm.